Hello everyone. So today we will be looking at Microsoft Project Professional Demonstration 2016. Okay, so let's get started. So this is a basic view of the blank page of Microsoft Project Professional 2016. Okay, okay. So today we will be designing a project proposal for a website. Okay, so how to design a particular website with this Project Professional. Okay, so let's get started. So right here we do have a task mode, task name, duration, and we can allot start and finish times for the project. And then we have much more options like Gantt charts, wherein we can see physical representation of the duration of the work. Okay, so let me get started with doing this one. Okay, let's go ahead and break the tasks as simple as possible. Okay, so let's give a name to this particular task. Okay, right here I define the requirements of the project. Okay, then I'll allow the duration, like if it's for 2 weeks, 1 week, depending on the time it might consume for that particular task. Okay, then I give the start date. So we have a couple of options like manually scheduled or auto scheduled. If we give auto schedule, it automatically takes the dates. Okay, for example, I've selected auto schedule now. Okay, so auto schedule, it takes the date starting from Monday. For example, okay, the starting date it considers is the next working day. That'll be on some Monday, 3rd of 13, and the end date it automatically takes considers 2 weeks as a duration, and the finish date is automatically given. And further, next week, since we have already defined the requirements for these projects, next task would be determining scope of the project. Okay, so let us give 2 days for this particular task. And then as you can see that uh, the left side of the project is corresponding to the right side, wherein you can see the Gantt chart. It automatically pops the physical graphical representation. Okay, further, formulate preliminary sitemap. Okay, and let me allot 2 days for this task. We can even split the task. And then we have indent tasks as well for indenting various tasks. Okay, let me put the next task name in website designing project, that is seek approval. For example, let us give it as seek approval from manager. Okay, so that will be, and we can assign a particular duration for this, maybe a couple of days, and then I'm going to break the tasks. Okay, further we have to conduct project team meeting. The, for example, keep it as 1 day for this one. Then we break it. So when we break this task, you see the date is automatically changed. For example, and you see the first one, determine scope of project, we have given 2 days, so that it has taken from 3rd of March to the 13th of March to 14th of March. And then after that, the formulate preliminary site map automatically started the next day, that is 15th to 16th. So it automatically defines the dates, start date and finish date. Okay, so let's go to the next task now. Design website. Okay, designing website is usually a long process, and we can allot keep it as 3 weeks for this one. Okay, so all of them are grouped together under defining requirements. Okay, so next, creating preliminary wireframe for the project. Okay, let us also auto assign for 3 days for this task. Okay. Further, creating content. Let's give one, and we can ungroup both the tasks. Okay, and couple of tasks we can indent them. Okay. And we can change start date. Further again, so you see a pop-up like planning wizard that shows you that basically asks you whether you want to change the date. You said yes. Okay, let us take one more task name that will be the next step in the project, creating graphics. So creating graphics to the website, and then we can allot the duration for this task. Six days. Okay, auto scheduled. Further, Okay, so let's give the next task's name. For example, proofreading to finalize all the tasks we have done up till now. And let us give 2 days for this one. Okay, maybe 3 days if it's more. Okay, now we have to change. The overall duration for designing website was 3 weeks. Okay, so the next task we can take is uh, testing, maybe finalizing testing. Okay, finalizing and testing. Okay, so for that we allot number of days for that. Put it as 7, 1 week, that 7 days. Okay, so the okay, so now next step in our project will be testing of the project we have done up till now. Okay, and for that we can probably keep 1 week time maybe. Okay, now let us divide the tasks into testing the front end part. We can put one more. Okay, so let's check the testing task now. Let's give like 1 week for this. Okay, make it as 7 days. Further, let us define a new task name. For example, testing front end testing. Okay, further I've allotted 3 days for front end testing, and then for example the overall implementation, that is the backend testing. Let us put as 4 days, since the testing is for 7 days, so we have divided the days evenly, 3 and 4 days. Finally we indent them, both of them, under testing, and we can conclude with implementation. For example, let's give like 3 days for implementation of the website. Okay, so the predecessor is usually the dates, and we can make a new resource names for the people who are working for various tasks. For example, okay, I go to resource sheet and then I give the resource name, defining the people whoever will be working on the project. For example, let me consider web developer, who will be working basically on website interface, and then further I will take a graphic designer. Okay, initially let me start with web developer. Okay, I define the standard rate, the hourly rate for the web designer, so that the system automatically calculates the pay and everything for the web developer in this project. For example, if I give $120 an hour, that'll be the standard rate, and then I save it, then you can see that it automatically shows the standard rate of web developer, maximum, and percentage of hours possible to work in a week. Now let me add one more resource with the name graphic designer, and then I give the standard rate, the pay rate for graphic designer. Okay, let me give $100 an hour for graphic designer. Okay, so now we can go back to Gantt chart. Now in resource names, we have to since we already have two resources pre-saved ones in the system, we can directly assign them here. For example, web developer automatically pops up, and then it puts the name and resource names, and further, depending on the number of days and the standard hour rate of web developer, it will automatically calculate. Okay, first of all, let us go ahead and assign resource names to various tasks. Okay, let me make one more column like cost, that is the total cost for hiring the human resource. Okay, now let's give a graphic designer for determining scope and project. For the formulating, we need a graphic designer, and seeking approach from the manager basically needs graphic designer and web developer. Okay, so resource names are allotted right here. So similarly, we allot them for the whole page. Okay, design website will be done by web developer. Further, okay, the tasks are divided among two different people because every web developer and graphic designer are individual, and then they operate separately. Okay, so web developer testing is basically done by web developer and graphic designer, two people. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with assigning resource names to all the tasks right now. Okay, so when you do the changes on the left hand side, you can concentrate on the right hand side where you see the graphical representation of all the tasks that are done on the left side are showing on the right side, and it's called Gantt chart, wherein it clearly defines all the persons that want us to do. Okay, now let's okay, so you see the cost of the project, and you see the resource names, you see the finish and start date, and you see the duration and various tasks names. Okay, and we do have further much more options in project professionals, wherein you can design a huge projects by using this, and you can break the tasks so that it can be easily done, and the tasks can be divided to different people. this is a simple project proposal we have developed for a small website designing, and we do have. Okay, so this is just a simple and small website designing project proposal. Thank you very much. Further, in this Microsoft Project Professional, you can see the timeline, wherein the timeline clearly describes the time you'll be working on. And further, when I move the cursor in the Gantt chart, you can clearly observe the time duration for each and every task divided with a color graphical representation. And we put on this one, it shows the task start date, task end date, and the duration. And for example, let me put the cursor on here, and it shows for the task start and ending date and everything. Okay, so the Microsoft Project Proportional Professional is an easy tool to keep your projects, resources, and teams organized and to keep them on track. With Microsoft Project Professional 2016, you can easily plan and collaborate on projects from virtually anywhere. Further, it's an easy tool wherein you can get started quickly, schedule efficiently, manage resources with ease, make smart decisions, and you have a best in class templates, and you can organize a team, and you can choose different type of projects wherein you can change work time, you can do the work breakdown structures, you can link between projects, and you can set baselines. And we do have much more features attached in this Project Professional. Further, we can do smart automation and multiple timelines, and everything can be planned and executed, and it's easy to access from virtually anywhere. Thank you very much for listening to the tutorial on Microsoft Project Professional. Thank you.